Hey smart people, Toby Salami here. In this video, I'm going to show you just how you can create multiple posts with one single post submit action. And the entire reason for this video is not just, to show you a particular way of doing something, but to give you a concept that you can very easily apply to multiple different scenarios. So in this particular situation, just to demonstrate stuff to you, I'm going to show you how I can create multiple posts using just one single form. And to implement this, I'm going to be making use of two concepts. One, an automation tool called Bitflows, and I'm also going to be making use of JetForm Builder along with the WordPress REST API. So let's see how we can connect all of this together and get this to work the way we want it to. To start, I'm going to come to inside of here to towp.io. It's something that just helps you very easily spin up a WordPress site. And quite easily, after entering your email address here, you will have a WordPress site that you can use for free for 7 days. So let's just type inside of here, demo@tobysalami.com. And once I do that, I can click on Open Demo. And of course, that's going to spin up a quick WordPress website for me. It says it needs about 10 seconds. But in my experience, this usually takes a lot less than 10 seconds to spin up the WordPress site. As you can see, it's already done and it's redirecting me to the newly created WordPress site that we can very easily use. Now, when we're inside of this WordPress site, of course, they're going to show some advertisements for the Bit apps, which of course we need to thank for this tutorial. Thank you, Bitflows, for sponsoring this video. Now, when we close this out, we have a new WordPress site with Bitflows Pro, and we also have Bitflows inside of this website. We just need to install here JetForm Builder. I can, of course, make use of Bitforms to do the same thing, but I just want to, add some flavor to this, right? So let's add a new plugin and make use of JetForm Builder to get this done. We're going to get this done as fast as possible in a very short time. You're going to understand quite a lot of concepts to help you to get this kind of stuff to work. So let's search for JetForm Builder inside of here. And if we just type in JetForm Builder and search for that, we'll have JetForm Builder right here. We can very easily install JetForm Builder. And once we have that installed, we can also click on Activate. We have activated JetForm Builder. This is very good. I can come now inside of all pages and just, open up a new page that can help me to do this. For simplicity's sake, I'm not going to be making use of any page builder in particular. I'm going to be using vanilla WordPress here, Gutenberg. And if you want to make use of Elementor or Bricks Builder or any other page builder of your choice, go right ahead. It will work the exact same way. Now I'm just going to edit sample page. Just open the default sample page that comes along with WordPress because I need to be able to create a form inside of here. In the meantime, I can come back inside of my plugins here and I have JetForm Builder right here. I can create a new form. The new form here is a simple form that will help me to create multiple posts at once. This has been a problem for a long time. The fact that many people have thought about creating multiple posts with one single post submit action, but they cannot do this. So for now, I'm going to toggle off save form records, and I'm not going to make use of any of the patterns here. I'm just going to say start from scratch. And here it has a hidden field inside of here. I don't want that. I also don't want this text field right here. What I need inside of here is a simple repeater field. But first, let's give this form a name. Let's say create multiple posts as the name of this form. And inside of here, I want to add in the first field, which is a simple repeater field. Once I add that inside of there, a repeater field will, of course, expect inside of it some extra fields. So let's give the repeater field a name. Let's say posts list, something like that. Inside of that repeater field, we can begin to add the new blocks to form each of the post submit, properties for that. So for the first one here, let's just add a simple text field. The text field here will be for the post title. We can just say post title right here. And the second one just below it, we can add that one for the post content. And that will be a text area field for post content. So let's type that inside of there. That should be good. We have post content. We're very, very much good to go. We can move this form field, the entire form field up here. Under here, inside of the submit button, we can call this posts multiple items. Now, once we type that inside of there, we can come back to JetForm. And what will our post submit action be? Your regular intuition will be, well, why don't we just add a new action right here? Of course, JetForm Builder has the ability for us to insert or update a new post. And we say, why don't we do that? Let's say we want the post type to be post. We want the post status to be publish. Of course, that's okay. Now inside of field map, we want to map the post title to post title. Inside of post content, we want to map that to post content. Let's update that. Let's click on publish, and we can come inside of the edit page for the sample page. Let's just highlight and remove all of what is inside by default of this sample page. We can click on save for now and just refresh this. And the reason is that we want the latest version of all of the JetForms that we've created, which is just one for now, to be loaded in. Let's close out this, choose the pattern, and inside of here, we can add a new JetForm block. So let's just search for JetForm, select that inside of there. It says to choose form on the right here. We're going to select inside of here, create multiple posts. Once we select that, we have this here. Forget about the styling. I'm not going to bother too much with the styling right here. What I intend to do is show you functionality. Let's click on save for now. We want to come to the front end. We just want to view that sample page in the front end here so that we can see what we're doing. Once we load that up, we see inside of post list, we can add multiple items. And this is very, very nice. We think, and the regular way of thinking about this is that when you add all these items and click on post multiple items, that it should go ahead and post it. But let's see if JetForm Builder is capable of doing that right now. We're going to add the first item. We're just going to call that first item right here. And inside of the second one, we want to say first item. We just want to say item content. Whatever is inside of here does not really matter, okay? Item content, the second one, we want to say second item, and inside of that, item content. The third one, we're going to say third content or third item. Oops, I don't know how to type, do I? And I want to type inside of here, item content. And finally, I want to click on post multiple items and hope to God that it's going to create all of these 3 posts. Will it? And I'm going to tell you why it will not. If we come back to the dashboard here and just click on all of the posts, let's view all posts. What you see here is that it has created this new post called post 12, meaning it didn't attach the title correctly, and it also definitely did not create 3 posts for us. If we edit this, let's just view this. And so we can understand the problem. We see inside of content here that there is also nothing inside of the content. And why is that? Because by default, JetForm Builder is not built to handle, of course, this post submit action here is not built to handle an array of items at once. This submit action cannot handle that, at least for now. I don't know, I can talk to the CrocoBlock team if you want me to. But I found a way out of this. We can delete that action right here, and I could very easily make use of the WordPress REST API in combination with Bitflows Pro. So let me just show you very quickly how to get that to work. We want to come back inside of here. I expect that you have Bitflows Pro. If you do not have access to that, I have a link in the description below. And if you make use of that link, I earn a small commission. It's at no extra cost to you. Thank you. Inside of Bitflows Pro right here, you can click on flows, and we want to create a new flow. The flow here is just a simple flow to help us to collect this array of items or list of repeater items and then treat each repeater item as a single item so that we can publish it. What do we need to do? We need to create a new flow, and we can call this flow inside of here, create multiple posts, or any name that we choose to call it. Once we're done with the name, we can come to create here and we create the new flow. Inside the flow here, we can create the first aspect of the flow. The first aspect here is the trigger, and the trigger here will be webhook. We need this to be able to make use of a webhook in order to grab the data that will come from our form. So once we create that, for now, let's just click out of it and add one new item. We can come inside of tools here, and we want to grab the iterator tool right here. We want to bring the iterator tool and connect it to that. And why are we doing that? Because an iterator tool will, as the name implies, iterate over each of the JetForm Builder repeater items and then treat them as individual items on their own. That's simply what an iterator tool does. It iterates over an array of items, all right? Now let's see how that works practically. We come back inside of webhook right here, just open it up. And inside of choose webhook here, we see we have no existing webhook on this website. Let's add a new webhook item. Inside of webhook name right here, we want to type in a new name. In my case here, I just want to say collect data from JFB, JetBuilder. and we can click on save. Now, when we save that, what happens? It generates for us a new webhook URL. Now, the webhook URL that is generated, we can very easily make use of it. And how? We can copy that webhook URL right there. We can say inside of listen response here, we can say that it should listen for us to submit some data to that webhook, just so that we can, understand what is collected from the webhook and then make use of that data. So let's copy that URL. We're going to come back inside of the form here, the edit form. We're going to click on add new action. And inside of here, we want to say call webhook, not call hook, call webhook. When we select that, we want to click inside of here and paste the webhook URL. Leave the timeout in seconds as is and click on update. Once we're done, we click on save. We come to the front end where the form really exists and we refresh this page. Because right now we want to test the new webhook URL action. Let's do that. Let's add new items. The first item here, we want to call this first item. And inside of content, we want to say content sample. We want to add another item here that says second item. Oops, I cannot spell item, and content sample. And we want to add the last item here to say third item and content sample. And once we're done with this, I want to come down here and click on posts multiple items. And what I expect to happen is that it should send the information submitted inside of this form to that webhook URL. Let's see if it collected that data. When we come back to Bitflows, we see here response captured. This is very, very good. We can also come down here and see the captured response here. We see post list, which is actually what we named this inside of here. We called this post list. When we come back to form, we close that out. Let's close that one. We can come back inside of the form here. When we select that, we see post list right here. If we come back here, we see inside of here post list. We see inside of here, we see length 3. And what it means by length is actually the number of items inside of that array or repeater, which we made use of right here. So it's all right. It's great. This is good. We know that we have all 3 items collected. We can close this out. The webhook URL is working well. Now, inside of the iterator, we can open this up, and inside of the array here, we can select inside of here post list. And why are we selecting post list inside of here? Because this is the array of all of the items, the post title and the post content. We see we have only first item and content sample, which is inside of the first item. We don't have the other 2 items unless we expand what is inside of this array. And to do that, we put the array inside the iterator so that it breaks out that array of items and make them function individually. So once we do that and we close this out, we can add the next action here. The next action here is an action to help us make this post, which is API requests. And this introduces you to the WordPress REST API. I have a different video that I created also about Bitflows. It's right here on my channel where you can understand just how you can make use of the WordPress REST API. If you do not understand how to make use of it, I'm going to show you some aspects of it right here, but I will not explain some items that I have already explained in the past. I will expect you to have some previous knowledge. So if you do not have knowledge about that, be sure to watch the video. I have it linked somewhere up here. Okay, so let's click on make a request. Once we click on make a request, we can now make an API request. To make an API request, we need a connection to our website. So let's create that connection. We can click on add connection here. The connection type, we're going to select here basic authentication, and that's okay. Inside of connection name, we want to give this connection a name. Let's say we want to call this connects to websites. Something like this is all right. Now we need to type in both our username and our password. Let's come back to the WordPress admin. We want to come down here to where we have users and click on profile. And why? We want to edit our current user profile, which is an admin account. And we see the username here is demo. We want to copy that username. We want to come back inside of here and paste that username inside of there. Now, what password are you going to make use of? You should not make use of your own regular password that you use to log into the site. Instead, you should create what is known as an application password. You can come all the way down here to where you have application passwords. I suspect that you've seen this multiple times and you've wondered, what is this for? Well, this is a very good use case. We can add a new application password by first giving that application password a name. We want to call this connects to website. or any other name that makes sense to you, and click on add application password. Now, once you create the application password, keep in mind that once you copy this password and you close this page, this password cannot be seen again, so you need to keep it in a place that makes sense. So let's copy this. We want to come back inside of BeatsFlows Pro. We want to paste that password inside of there. We want to click on connect, and we just want to wait for it to connect. Now it's connected, and we see connect to website is inside of here, meaning that connection is successful. This is very good. Now we can begin to add the URL parameters for our REST API to connect to our same website and begin to create posts. We can come to the REST API handbook. Created, it's right here, it's for free, it's online. You can see the REST API handbook here for WordPress, and if you check inside of key concept here, you see this is how it is formulated. You have HTTP, then your site URL /WP-JSON, and if you want to access posts specifically, you can see you have WP-JSON /WP/v2/posts. I covered this all in the video I talked about earlier, okay? Now, all you need to do is come back here, copy the URL of your website. This is the URL of this website generated by toadwp.io. I'm going to copy that. I want to come back inside of BeatsFlows Pro, and I want to paste that URL right there. Once I paste it inside of there, I have one aspect of the URL down. I can come back inside of here now and copy the rest of this route. I just want to copy this right here. Copy everything right here, come back inside of here, paste that inside of there, add a / at the end. And basically this is how you formulate the URL to access the CPT of posts, or the custom post type called posts, inside of your WordPress admin. Once I put that inside of here, I want to come inside of method, and instead of get, which will fetch post, I want to use post, which will create new data entries. So once I click on post, the content type is JSON, which is so, because I can see it right here inside of the URL, this is WP-JSON, right? Inside of the body here, I want to come down to body and begin to make use of these items. Now, the first item we need to post inside of here is the title of the posts. And what the title is going to be, we want to match that inside of here. But for now, let's leave that. We're going to come back to that in a bit. The next item we need here is the actual post content, and that we also would need to match inside of value. But let's add the last item here, which is the status, and we know what the status would be, so we can add a default static value called publish. So this means technically that whatever post is sent inside of the REST API right here will have a status of publish, meaning it's going to be published, right? Now, we only need the title and the content, but we remember these are 3 items or more. They could be even 1 item. It has to be a number of items in an array. So how do we make this to work? We cannot right here come inside of the array and use this right here. It will definitely not work because we've not pointed to any single item in that array. If we close this out and we open this up and we select the first item inside of here, we see technically that we're only going to be making use of the very first item inside of that array, and that will also not work for us. We remember though, if we close this out, that we have the iterator item right here. But we also remember that we connected this post list array after we initiated our first webhook submission. Meaning we need to do this again. And why do we need to do this again? Because when we collect the data to the webhook, it will go to the next step and break it out inside of the iterator. So let us submit the post again and get this to work the way we want it to, by simply breaking it out inside of this array and making use of the array data collected inside of API request right here. Let's do that again. We're going to click on test flow once. We don't want it to go ahead and try to create a new post, so let's just unlink this for now. And once we unlink that, very good, we can click on test flow once. We're going to click on listen, new response is listening. We're going to come back to the main page here and let's add new items. So we're going to call this first item. You know what? I don't care about my spelling right now. We're just going to call this first. And contents will be contents. Let's click on add a new item. We're going to say second and second item. And we're going to add the last item here. We're going to call this third. And I don't care about my spelling again. And contents for third or anything like that. And now once we're done, we're going to click on post multiple items. And what do we expect? We want to come back inside of Bitflows Pro right here. And what we see is trigger data received. Flow is executing in the background. Please check the logs for more details. Let's close this out right now. And we can connect this iterator to the API request. Let's open up that API request now and see if we click on the first item inside of here. Now we have the iterator here, which of course fetches the items for us. This is very nice. So we can select the first one, point that to post title. We could select the second one here and point that second one to post content. Now we're going to have all of the posts we try to create created all at once. Let's close this out. And now let's come to the front end and try to make use of this one last time. In this case, we have our flow completely set up all the way from collecting the webhook URL, making use of the iterator to iterate over each of the array items. The iterator will break out the array and ensure that each one functions on its own. And the last item will send it to the REST API and initiate a post creation action. So let's see that working. We're going to come inside of post list right here and let's add new items. Let's say this would be called the first item. All this while it's not creating any posts, we can come back inside of posts just to be sure here and view all of the posts. We can even, to create a better effect, just remove all of the items inside of the post here. Just move everything to trash, click on apply, so everything goes to the trash. And then we have a clean slate, no posts whatsoever inside of our WordPress website. We now want to create 3 posts at the exact same time. Let's see if we can get this to work using Bitflows. We can come inside of sample page here and continue. We say this is first item content. Cannot spell content. So I'm going to add the second item here. I want to say second item and second item content. And we have the last item here. We're going to call this third item and third item content. Okay, now that I'm done with this, I can click on post multiple items. Once I click on that, what do I expect to happen? The flow works in the back end and goes ahead, breaks it out and creates 3 new posts for us. We're going to come back inside of posts now. Let's refresh this and see what we have now. We have first, second and third item all created for us. This is very nice. Let's see if the content was properly connected. If we click on edit first item inside of here, we see we have, what do we have here? First item content. And this is very, very good. It means therefore that we can do multiple things with this. I'm not going to sit here and try to explain all the multiple use cases for this. I'm just going to allow you to use your imagination powers and try to apply this to different scenarios in the future. This is where the tutorial ends. However, I'm going to come back with more in the future. And if this is the kind of stuff you're interested in, please subscribe and leave a comment below telling me what you benefited from this tutorial, and I'll be happy to know about that. My name remains Toby Salami. Stay dynamic.